When Firefly Aerospace made its dramatic entrance onto the NASDAQ, it achieved a $9.84 billion valuation, raising $868.3 million to make it the largest space tech IPO of the year. The offering came after increased investor appetite for space and defense-related firms, as geopolitical tensions and a renewed focus on national security keep driving demand for private sector participation in space infrastructure. As we recount the adventures of this space explorer, we'll gain insight into the appeal of its technological progress, especially for government programs, as well as setbacks it's faced and hurdles that could emerge. Founded in 2014 by Tom Markusik, Firefly encountered turbulence as early as 2017 when it filed for bankruptcy before being rescued by Ukrainian investor Max Polyakov's New Sphere Ventures. National security concerns later forced Polyakov to divest his stake, leading to control by AE Industrial Partners. The firm has since grown through partnerships with major industry players like Northrop Grumman, with whom it is developing a larger rocket named Eclipse, expected to launch in 2026. Northrop's involvement not only bolsters Firefly's defense credentials, but also provides access to solid rocket motor supply chains and additional capital. Additionally, Japanese investment firm Mitsui has invested in Firefly, expanding the company's international reach and fortifying supply chain resilience. Firefly became the first private enterprise to land on the moon successfully earlier this year, with its Blue Ghost lunar lander part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services (CLPS) program, leading to a $10 million contract addendum, which involves additional data like transit images, surface operations data, communications data, and transmission speeds, captured by Firefly's Blue Ghost lunar lander during its 45-day transit to the moon and more than 2 weeks of surface operations. This included high-resolution images of a solar eclipse and sunset on the moon, antenna communication logs, and propulsion data from lunar descent operations. The mission encountered extreme temperature swings from 230 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 275 degrees Fahrenheit, and challenges such as lunar dust buildup and light reflections affecting thermal systems, but successfully completed all scientific objectives. This new data could provide crucial insight into lunar dust levitation, solar eclipses, sunset phenomena, payload science data, and temperature data from various points on the moon. The mission was able to survive extreme temperature variations due to innovative solutions developed by Firefly's team in order to gather critical data about the effects of lunar terrain on thermal states. Firefly also has a growing relationship with the U.S. military, including the Space Force thanks to its Alpha rocket and Elytra spacecraft platform. CEO Jason Kim, a former executive at Boeing's Millennium Space Systems, emphasized Firefly's operational readiness over speculative ambition, stating that the company is already executing critical missions for government partners. These include rapid Pentagon launches and potential participation in the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative. Firefly's technology could be used to launch test targets or host space-based interceptors, positioning it as a key player in future national defense projects. For example, Firefly's new Elytra Mission 3 contract from the U.S. Department of Defense calls for a 2027 national security mission. Additionally, Northrop Grumman strengthened its partnership with Firefly by investing $50 million in preferred equity, backing their joint Eclipse launch vehicle project. As for the Alpha launch vehicle, 4 flights have ended in failure since 2021, yet persistence has led to an FAA return to flight determination being granted for Alpha on August 26th, and the company is now preparing for Alpha Flight 7. CEO Jason Kim highlighted that several Alpha rockets are already in production to meet surging demand, particularly from national security clients and commercial space partners. Firefly has also conducted 95 hot fire tests of its Miranda engine, set to power the debut of the Eclipse rocket as early as 2026. However, despite its impressive progress, Firefly remains an early-stage company and is not yet profitable. According to its filings, the company expects to keep incurring net losses for several years, even as revenue has shown signs of rapidly rising. Regardless, it boasts a sizable backlog beyond $1 billion with dozens of launches under contract, indicating significant revenue potential once production scales. meaning investors and analysts are likely to focus on Firefly's ability to convert its backlog into sustainable revenue, improve margins, and extend its cash runway following the IPO. Their Alpha rocket has completed successful launches, including the record-breaking Victus Nox mission that established a new responsive launch record for the U.S. Space Force. Building on that, Firefly's Blue Ghost lander successfully landed on the Moon in 2025, a feat not achieved by a U.S. entity, private or public, since the Apollo era. Beyond the launch product line, Firefly offers customizable spacecraft products such as the Blue Ghost lander and Elytra, which are versatile and launch vehicle agnostic. Spacecraft technology is also flexible and can be used for diverse missions like landers, on-orbit missions, and lunar exploration. Traits that were crucial in Firefly securing a $177 million NASA contract for the mission to the Moon's South Pole in 2029. The mission will utilize Firefly's Elytra orbital vehicle and Blue Ghost lunar lander, alongside new payload capabilities that are being developed to evaluate resources such as hydrogen, water, and minerals at the South Pole of the Moon. During the mission, Elytra Dark will first deliver the Blue Ghost lander into lunar orbit and then remain on orbit to serve as a long-duration communications relay. Once in position, Blue Ghost will descend to the Moon's surface, where it will deploy 2 rovers and enable scientific operations for more than 12 days. The 2 rovers included in the payload are the Moon Ranger rover and one from the Canadian Space Agency. Additionally, 3 scientific instruments will be deployed: the Laser Ablation Ionization Mass Spectrometer, LIMS, the Laser Retroreflector Array, LRA, and the stereo cameras for lunar plume surface studies, SCALPS, the latter of which also flew on Firefly's inaugural Blue Ghost mission. These instruments will contribute to a range of scientific and engineering objectives. The LIMS will analyze the chemical makeup of lunar regolith, supporting in situ resource utilization, ISRU, planning. The LRA will aid in navigation and surface tracking, while SCALPS will continue to investigate how lander exhaust plumes interact with the lunar surface, a key consideration for future landings in dusty or unstable terrain. The combination of scientific and exploratory hardware is part of NASA's focus on building a sustainable lunar presence and sets the stage for more complex robotic and human missions. After surface operations conclude, the Elytra Dark vehicle will remain in lunar orbit for over 5 years as part of Firefly's Ocula lunar imaging service. This long-term orbital asset will be the 3rd in Firefly's Elytra Dark constellation, following 2 earlier launches scheduled for 2026 and 2028. These spacecraft will enhance lunar imaging, mission planning, mineral detection, and provide essential situational awareness. The expansion of Firefly's Elytra constellation will enable faster revisit times and broader lunar coverage for both governmental and commercial users. Firefly's leadership highlighted the technological maturity and mission reliability of its systems. CEO Jason Kim emphasized the company's proven track record, citing the success of its first Blue Ghost mission and reaffirming Firefly's role as a key partner for NASA in robotic lunar operations. Firefly's leadership highlighted the technological maturity and mission reliability of its systems. CEO Jason Kim emphasized the company's proven track record, citing the success of its first Blue Ghost mission and reaffirming Firefly's role as a key partner for NASA in robotic lunar operations. Chris Clark, Vice President of Spacecraft, noted that Elytra Dark shares flight-proven components and propulsion systems with Blue Ghost, making it a robust platform for future missions. With additional payload capacity available on both Elytra and Blue Ghost, Firefly is now inviting more commercial and government entities to join the 2029 mission, leveraging the same trusted architecture and mission team that has consistently delivered results. Such a potentially enticing invitation indeed, that Japan could soon join in, especially since Firefly is considering launching its Alpha rocket from Japan's Hokkaido spaceport, Japan's northernmost main island. This would make Japan the 2nd offshore launch site for Firefly after Sweden, marking a major expansion of their satellite launch services globally. Space Kotan, which operates the Hokkaido spaceport in Japan, signed a preliminary agreement with Firefly to study the feasibility of launching Alpha from there. The potential partnership would expand Firefly's reach and provide additional support for its global satellite launch services. Launching Alpha from Japan would allow us to serve the larger satellite industry in Asia and add resiliency for U.S. allies with a proven orbital launch vehicle, said Adam Oakes, Firefly's vice president of launch. A feasibility study will be conducted to assess the regulatory hurdles, timeframe, and investments required to build a launch pad for Alpha in Hokkaido. This agreement would require a space technology safeguards agreement between the U.S. and Japan, allowing American rocket launches in Japan. Although negotiations have begun between the two governments, no final agreements have been reached yet. While Japan has been launching rockets for decades on behalf of their national space agency, private rocket ventures are still a new concept in the country. Most Japanese satellite operators currently rely on foreign providers such as SpaceX and Rocket Lab. Nonetheless, if the collaboration with Japan is successful, it could follow a similar path to when the U.S. signed a technology safeguards agreement with Sweden, which enables Alpha rocket launches from Esrange Space Center. And even though Firefly faces stiff competition from well-funded rivals like SpaceX, Rocket Lab, and Intuitive Machines, it has support from partnerships with defense giants like Lockheed Martin and L3Harris. Remember, it's still important to reiterate Firefly is a growth stage company that has seen its revenues multiply but losses widen as well over the past year due to increasing demand for space infrastructure and defense capabilities, all of which comes with the territory of navigating the capital-intensive, high-risk nature of the space industry. So, if it can manage costs and maintain execution, it may become a long-term player in both lunar exploration and national defense, especially as the rapidly growing space economy could reach $1.8 trillion. And since its stock dipped shortly after its debut, optimists view it as a potential buying opportunity, given the potential growth in the niche focus on small payload launches for national security and hypersonic testing. In the bigger picture, the increasing selection of space system and launch providers is a net positive as it reduces concentrating reliance on a single or small number of providers. More companies competing also contributes to reduced launch costs. So, moving ahead, the long-term success for these companies hinges on establishing a consistent and reliable client base. Firefly is working on that with its rapid expansion, growing revenue, contract wins, and increasing technological capabilities that reinforce its long-term potential in the competitive and capital-intensive space sector. For more on Firefly and other space stocks, follow Ascencore. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.